I did not know that I was Hispanic until I was 6 years old. And this is absolutely true. I had no idea because I grew up in a very nice neighborhood in Miami, in Coconut Grove, where people spoke with very round vowels. It was a nice neighborhood, and people were, white. And when I say white, I don't mean Caucasian. I mean their lifestyles, the way they spoke to one another, their hedges, their lawns. Everything was very patrician, a lot of plaid. I was surprised that our neighbors, the Shillingtons, they had a Dotson. We called it a wiener dog, and they told me how they bought it from a breeder, and I'd never even heard of that. Like the whole idea that people bought dogs that were made on purpose was like amazing to me. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not entirely certain that most of my family was made on purpose, but I will tell you this: my father's mother is to blame for me not knowing I was Latina because she did everything on purpose. My grandmother was a pretty amazing person, and she wanted more. So, here's the story within the story. I like to tell people, and now I can say it with pride and with love, because when I was younger, people always compared me to my grandmother, and I was like, she's a beast. I mean, she literally looked like Ernest Borgnine in drag. I mean, she's this huge woman. On her death certificate, it had her listed at 5'8", 212 pounds, and she had already shrunk and lost weight. Like, she had these enormous boobs that her bra was like a structural masterpiece. Like an engineer probably decided how the stitching was going to go. I mean, long before Madonna had the cones, my grandmother had these, like they called them Dagmar, because there was a famous actress named Dagmar that had the pointy bras. But my grandmothers were so big that my two brothers would actually put my grandmother's bra on their heads at the same time and make jokes about how they could wear my grandmother's bra on their head. So when people would say like, oh, you're just like abuela meaning grandmother in Spanish, I would be like, that is not a compliment at that time. So let me tell you about her, and then you'll know why I didn't know I was Hispanic. My grandmother was the Great Gatsby of Puerto Rico in a way. And that happened because she was very, very much in love with a young man when she was in high school. And my grandmother graduated high school. I mean, she was born in 1906 when women did not graduate high school. But it was very important to her to graduate high school. And in her senior year, she was very, very much in love with this young man. And of course, the Depression was going full tilt. And he came to her and he told her with all the love, it's a novel, it's epic. It's F. Scott Fitzgerald meets Gabriel Garcia, Love in the Time of Cholera. And he told her, I love you, but I can't marry you. There's this young woman from a good family of means with a family business who likes me. And if I marry her, I save my family. I go to work for her father, all is good in the world. So gotta go. And that broke her heart. It didn't just break her heart. It did something to her. My grandmother moved to New York City and sewed ties for almost no money, pennies on the dollar. She saved up and she bought one of those permanent machines that came out of the ceiling. And she bought one and she took it down to San Juan. And here's the funny thing is that, I didn't understand the whole concept of Spanish being the mother tongue from Spain. And I always thought that, again, growing up in Coconut Grove, Florida, that Spanish was just a language that my family spoke so we could talk about the neighbors pretty much right in front of them because they didn't speak Spanish. I say that every family is a little bit like it's a country, and you teach your children foreign policy. The interesting part is that she was pragmatic. Her foreign policy was, even though I'm a little bit prejudiced, maybe a little bit leery of you, at the end of the day, money, pride, wanting to elevate my family is stronger than that feeling. So she bought this machine, she took it to San Juan, and she uncurled every afro in San Juan. And she was making money hand over fist. Everybody in her neighborhood had perfect waves, finger waves. She did so well, she bought another one. She taught my grandfather how to do it. And then when there wasn't a curl left in town, she moved to Miami and she bought the house in Coconut Grove, cash, in her bathing suit, I might add. So our family goes to see the movie West Side Story. You know, I was a kid. I'd started spying on the adults, you know, and I would hear the neighbors talking about us. And the other neighbors, they didn't dig a hole in the backyard and roast a whole pig on a spit. I mean, I didn't think anything of it, but they would just pop up like little meerkats looking at us, and I'd hear them. And at the end of the movie, Chino shoots the jet. You know, beautiful jet with big blue eyes and a ski jump nose. And I look at my father standing on the sidewalk in Miami, and I said, Daddy, and I was just parroting what I'd heard, Daddy, those Latinos are going to ruin everything. And my dad said, Monique, I drive a Trans Am. We have a saint in the front yard. Look at your grandmother's boobies. We are the Latinos. And I realized never hate or fear anything, because you could be it. That's how I found out I was Latino. Because in spite of my grandmother putting me in a wonderful neighborhood, you are what you are.